much does it cost to become a real estate agent? In this video, I'm gonna break down the numbers so that you can know exactly what to expect if getting a real estate license and becoming a real estate agent and or broker is something that you would like to do. And I'm also gonna share some resources to help you simplify the process of getting started with all that. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Tyler Roicki. I help people build income and wealth in real estate, and I run an international real estate team at eXp Realty. If you get any value whatsoever out of this video, all I'd ask is that you like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to share more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. And with all that being said, let's dive into the video. And so there's really 4 categories of costs that you're gonna have getting started in the business, and you can add some on top of that, but I'm gonna break down what you actually need to get your foot in the door and get up and running as a licensed real estate agent. So the first of those 4 categories is your pre-licensing, and this is the required coursework to get licensed with wherever you are. In the United States, depending on what state you're in, there's going to be a different sort of requirement with the pre-licensing. There's going to be a specific curriculum catered exactly to your state, and there's going to be a corresponding amount of course hours to go with that. And those hours range from 40 on the low side all the way up to 180 on the high side. Shout out to Texas, because everything's bigger than Texas. Yeehaw! But as far as the dollars, what it's going to cost you to get started, on the low side, $100. In fact, there's some out there with, you know, the right deal you could get in for less than $100 on the pre-licensing, but let's call it 100, easy round number, all the way up to $1,000 for the pre-licensing course. If you're in Ohio, you get the big price tag there, but depending on where you're at, you're just gonna have to go through that process. And if you need a place to get started, check out the pinned comment below. I'm gonna pin a comment with my go-to course providers for various states to hopefully help you out if you need a starting point with somebody that I've utilized in the past and that provides a solid deal. So you can check that out if you need a place. But back to the numbers, the second set of numbers and what you're gonna need to prepare for financially is your licensing fees. So there's a variety of fees. It all boils down to what you need in order to get a license through the application process. So you got application fees, fingerprint and background check, exam fee, and then the actual fee for the license. So depending on the state, they may break it up into 2, 3, 4 of those categories potentially, but you're generally going to need to do a background check. There generally is a fee associated with that. Usually it's pretty minimal, like 40, 50, 60 bucks, somewhere in that range. Application fees, and all this ranges, so I'm just gonna bundle it all into one. You're gonna wanna budget anywhere between $100 on the low side all the way up to $500 on the high side for your licensing fees. And I looked at states all across the map, and if you're outside the United States, probably need to do your own research there. I can tell you for a fact, Canada, everything is more expensive. So you would blow past the high side of these numbers if you're north of the US. Yeah, so licensing fees, $100 all the way up to $500 to cover all those fees associated with applying, going through the background check process, getting your exam taken, and licensing. And you could potentially blow past that high number if you don't pass your exam the first time, because you can retake and retake and retake and retake, but depending on how much that exam fee is, that's gonna start to add up over the course of time. So it's best if you can pass the first time around. And if you're rounding out that process, connect with me. I might be able to send you some tips and resources to help you study, but you don't need that before you do the course hours. Do the course hours first. Now, back to the fees. Third set of fees is your broker fees. So out-of-pocket cost is going to vary brokerage to brokerage. It will be minimal on the low side, call it $100. We're just gonna use that as a minimal number. All the way up to, I've seen and heard of situations where it was $2,000 on the high side to join a brokerage as a newly licensed agent. So every single broker is gonna have a different setup as far as fees go. Also monthly fees. So you wanna budget any monthly costs. Some brokerages charge desk fees, technology fees, some sort of monthly fee, whatever they call it. And you just gonna wanna know going into brokerages what it is to expect. But if you're wanting to budget just for planning and preparation reasons, I would expect that there would be something in the way of both a startup fee as well as an ongoing monthly fee for brokerages, and depending on the exact scenario, it can vary significantly. Now, that being said, I do operate my business at a place that I would say is super reasonable on the fee front as far as what is out there, not to even mention the value that you get in exchange for it. But I want to get back to the fees and cover the fourth set of fees that we have, right? So we covered the pre-licensing, the licensing, the broker fees, and then last but most definitely not least is your National Association of Realtors and your MLS dues. So the out-of-pocket on this varies significantly market to market because different market areas have different local associations and different MLSs that you're gonna join. And the range of cost between these things ranges anywhere from $1,200 to $2,400 annually. So out-of-pocket's gonna vary. There's some places on one extreme that will charge you a lump sum up front for that entire annual amount. And then there's others that you'll have a set of dues when you're getting started, but then the rest will be broken down throughout the year in installments, sometimes quarterly, sometimes monthly, but I'd say quarterly is more common from the different associations that I've seen and heard about. But there's a lot of them, a whole lot of them, so it can very much vary. But if you boiled all down, to break it down, I would expect, if you want to budget for what the fees would potentially be, I'd probably expect that annually it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Again, it could be low side, it could be high side. I'd probably expect somewhere in the middle, and I'd probably anticipate that about half of that would be due up front. And again, that's not going to be a perfect formula, but it would at least help you to be in more of a position where you're prepared. So for instance, if you're splitting that in the middle and saying, okay, I'm going to budget for $1,800 annually with the association and MLS dues, and then you're expecting that you might need about half of that up front, you're gonna have $900 set aside. You're gonna at least go in preparing, and that way, hey, maybe it's less, you're better off, you got some cash on the side left to work with. So that'd be a good situation. But to boil it all down and sum it all up, all in, you're looking at $500 on the low side, all the way up to $1,500 on the high side to get through the licensing process. That's going to include pre-licensing and licensing fees. And it may be under that low number. Great for you. You're blessed if you're in one of those states. It also might be hitting the top of that high number depending on where you're at. So it is what it is as far as the fees go. It's different for each state. You just got to go through the process if you want to get in the game. And then as far as the post-licensing fees, which would include your broker fees and your National Association of Realtors and MLS dues, I would expect that it's going to come in somewhere closing in on the $2,000 range for the year, for year one, between the broker MLS dues, especially too if you factor in a lockbox or two in your e-key. But I'd budget for about half of that up front. So if you wanted to assume $900,000, which would be about half of if you're expecting 2K throughout the year, and a lot of you it will come in lower, but I'm saying be prepared coming in. I hate to see situations where people are getting into the industry and they're just not prepared, and no one broke this down. So it's my hope that in breaking this down, that you would not be discouraged, but instead that you would be better prepared to hit the ground running and to have exactly what you need into place to make the most of the opportunity that having a real estate license has to offer. And that brings me to one last thing I want to make mention of is I can help if you're getting into the business. If you want to make the most of the opportunity ahead of you, the primary thing I do on a day-to-day basis is helping people build their incomes in their lives in real estate. And I don't charge that as a service or a fee or anything. I'm looking for good people to connect with that want to do the right thing, that want to help other people, that want to build a business the right way and to make a massive difference in not just their own life personally, financially, but the lives of those that they have to serve in their local market area. And so I'd love to connect if that's where you're at, especially as you're closing out the licensing process and assessing how you can make the most of the opportunity diving into the business. So reach out to me. You'll find my email. You'll find how you can get in touch with me in the description below. So make sure you do that, because if you're looking to do positive things, I'd love to connect and see how I can help you make the most of the opportunity this industry has to bring to the table. And the best way I can do that is to connect with you as you're finishing up the licensing process. So anything I can do to help you now or in the future, go ahead and connect with me. And in the meantime, if you got value, if you found this helpful, all I'd ask is that you like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so I can continue sharing more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. All that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, and until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.